if I'll call the Board of Commission for Metro Bus for the what is today, the Tuesday the 21st of April. And if Ryan, could you take the roll just to, so that if you could just call out everyone's name and just so that people will say that they're present.
Okay, sure. Dave Kleiss?
Here.
Rick Miller?
Here.
Kurt Hunstinger? Brian Fitzham?
Here.
John Libert?
Here. Okay, let the record reflect that everyone is here except Sauk Rapids. So all other jurisdictions and members are on this call. So I will, now what I'm going to have to do, because this is a little more challenging than when I have the agenda in front of me, and I can't switch to these other ones. Do you have, is that up on a chat or on a screen here?
We don't. No, we don't have it on the screen. But
Okay, why don't you, if you wouldn't mind, just probably, why don't we start with the consent agenda?
Okay, before
Could you read what they are?
Okay, before we have the consent, we have additions or changes to the agenda.
Okay.
So item number 11, resolution number 2020, award of janitorial services. That will be an approval, and that will be given by Paula Masti. That will be for informational purposes only, and that will be given by Paula Masti.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve.
If you just want to, when we do the motions, because we're going to have to do this by roll call, so if you just want to state your name and the motion.
John Libert, motion to approve. Miller, second.
Okay, all those in favor. Now, Ryan, if you could just read out those who are there and then ask for a aye or a nay.
Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
If you have to do one by one,
Do it by
individually.
Dave Kleiss,
Aye.
Rick Miller,
Aye.
John Libert,
Aye.
Brian Fitzham.
Aye.
Motion passed unanimously.
Okay, no other nays, so that passes. So then we'll do the consent agenda. Ryan, could you read each item on the consent, the explanation? Or just the title, what's on our agenda?
Consent agenda, March 17, 2020 meeting minutes, March 2020 balance sheet and budget statement, March 2020 list of bills, March 2020 fixed route, dollar ride, and Starlink ridership reports.
Is there a motion to approve?
Miller, move to approve.
Second. Moved and seconded. Ryan, please take the roll.
Kleiss,
Aye.
Rick Miller,
Aye.
Brian Fitzham,
Aye.
John Libert.
Aye.
Motion passes, no nay.
Okay, then could you go to the next item? Just read the item.
Open forum.
Okay, the open forum. Is there anybody from the public that wishes to speak?
No, nobody from the public wishes to speak.
All right, so then we will move on to the next item.
General business, COVID-19 update. That will be given by me.
All right.
I and probably each of you have received some questions as to why Metro Bus continues to operate. We are essential. We may not be essential to everyone. However, for transit-dependent people in our communities, we are their lifeline. We provide the link to get people to their medical appointments, to the grocery store, to the essential jobs. Currently, we have 12 employees out on leave due to COVID-19 specific reasons. Measures that we have taken here so far are the following. We reduced our operating hours to a Saturday-based schedule. Fixed route is operating from approximately 7:45 a.m. to 7:15 p.m. Our operators, dispatchers, mechanics, dealers, and operations management teams are working rotating schedules to lessen their exposure. Acting staff are, for the most part, we eliminated fares. We are having fixed route passengers board through the rear door. All frontline staff have been given a shield. These were donated to us by St. Cloud State University, and we are so very grateful for this donation. Material masks are available upon request to all frontline staff. Following the new requirements related to time off for our employees, how are we doing? Clients are concerned, with good reason. We are doing what we can to keep them safe. We are listening to them and making decisions based on their concerns and what they are seeing. We are in constant communication with MnDOT and the FTA, along with many other transit systems across the state of Minnesota and throughout our nation. We're sharing ideas. We are internally discussing measures of a system and the pros and cons associated with each. How will we pay for the measures we have taken? The key is that Metrobus has been appropriated approximately $7 million in funds from the FTA to cover all costs associated with COVID-19, as well as all lost revenues. Incurred from January 20th, 2020 and later are eligible. COVID-related expenditures for us began in March. Lost fare revenue is also covered. These funds will offset the loss of fare revenue from eliminated fares. There is currently not an end date to the funding source. If we continue to see a decrease in the average of fare revenue, or it takes longer than anticipated to get back up to regular service, these funds will remain available to us. At this time, I will take any questions you may have, but this completes my update.
Thank you, Ryan. Are there any questions?
How much of the money has been allocated already?
Well, we have approximately $7 million in funds. We haven't requested these funds yet from the FTA, but approximately we have $7 million in funds available to us. That's specific to Metro.
You don't know how much you're going to need at this point for at this date going back. How much have you spent, or how much you're going to need?
I can jump in and answer that question.
Just a ballpark.
Yep. We're in discussions right now with MnDOT as well. So it's kind of a balancing act between, are we going to, our contracts with MnDOT were signed for 2 years, for 20 and 21 operations. And so they're asking, so we're in constant communication with them, because they're asking us, can you use the COVID-19 so that they don't deplete their funds, because they're concerned that the lease and tax revenue, that's how we get funded from the state, and they're concerned about what that's going to look like moving forward. And so we're kind of, it's a juggling act between talking with MnDOT and figuring out what they're going to do, and if we need to backfill what they're going to short us from those contracts. And then also dealing with the FTA and saying, okay, what is this? Can we use this for, say, if next year or the year later we end up with, say, property tax levies that, we don't get the funding that we were anticipating at the local level, can we hold it for that? And can we hold it for this? And so we haven't had that much by any means of the expenditures related. That 7 million seems like a very large number, but we're kind of waiting to see is what's MnDOT going to do? Are they going to short us on those contracts? Because then we'll backfill our standard operating, as opposed to, utilizing those funds first and then utilizing this for the 20% match. We haven't figured out how that's going to look yet.
Okay, well, thank you.
Yep.
Are you able to, one of the things that I have a concern with is just making sure that going forward, we're all going to be in a tough situation. I know from each city perspective, budgets are going to be really tough in 2021. And I know the state obviously will be in a situation in that same boat, especially, absent what may happen at the federal level. Are you looking at and projecting maybe even utilizing these funds if possible? And what happens in 2021 that the dollars that you anticipate or expect normally from state and federal, what if they're reduced because of budget challenges that the state has in particularly? Because of course they have to have a balanced budget. Is there a way to cushion that, or are you making sure you monitor? So I can speak for myself. It'd be difficult, if not impossible, for us to ask for a levy increase for our folks to make up any costs going into a really tough year to begin with.
Right. And so again, that's why I've done the application. I've been working with Matt Lang at Region 5, which is our Chicago kind of based FTA. And in working with him, honestly, the interpretation of the CARES Act changed so many times that, like, at the end it was, okay, I just got an update, make this change, and if you get it in the next 30 minutes, we should be good, right? Like, that's how fast things are changing at that level. And so what I'm planning on doing, and again, I have to get the okay, if you will, from, I have it at the federal level. I don't have it at the state level yet, but basically those funds, we've done the application, the funds have been appropriated to us, and there's not an end time frame. So what that means is we could request, like, let's say at the state level, they shortfall us by $4 million next year. I'm just throwing a number out, just a swag number. Let's say it's $4 million. Well, if we're not going out and buying a ton of things and saying, oh, it's COVID related. I mean, PPEs aren't that expensive. Again, St. Cloud State donated masks for everybody, cleaning supplies. We're talking very, very minimal dollars. And so the majority of that money, I'm anticipating us backfilling those losses, right? So whatever we lose in fare revenues, we're not going to go back to the cities and say, we need you guys to provide another $500,000. No, we're going to keep that $500,000 in that what's been appropriated kind of in our own little savings account, if you will. And so I don't have any plans on asking, coming forward in 2 months and saying we need to increase the tax levy next year. I know it's going to be difficult for everybody, but because the 2021 contracts, because MnDOT decided to go forward with a 2-year contract, we kind of have to see what they're going to do to see what that's going to play out. So if we can say we're going to leave our levies the same, and again, this conversation I'll bring this forward again when it's budget time, in a month or two. But my plan is to say if we leave the local levies the same, and then if MnDOT shorts us, we're going to use this COVID-19 to backfill whatever we need. That's more my anticipated approach to it, if you will, so that we have that money. And again, it doesn't have to be spent, so we can say, affect our communities. None of us know the answer to that, but let's say it affects us for 3 years. Well, we've got union contracts being settled. We know that the health insurance premiums are going to go way up. So again, those we can state are basically because of COVID-19, so we can backfill for those same reasons. So my goal is not to say, okay, let's blow the $7 million in the next year. We can save that, and there's not an end date. They've made that very clear. So if this affects us for the next 2 or 3 years, we can maintain the levy and be able to backfill until it's gone.
Okay, that's right. Any other questions from commissioners? No. Okay, Brian, then what's the next item on the agenda?
Fiscal year 2019 final financial statements and communications letter that will be given by Paula Masti.
So commissioners, if you recall, you approved the draft financial statements back in December, and we have to wait now with the GASB requirements. We have to get PARA's updated financial deferred inflows and deferred outflows, and that number doesn't come to us until a little bit later. So nothing's changed on the financials from what you approved in December, other than the new deferred inflows and outflows from para have been updated with that information. And so I just need approval for the final financials. I do have hard copies for everybody. And the next time we actually get to see each other face to face, I will hand those out to you, but just to get this kind of housekeeping item approved.
If there's no change,
Miller moves to approve.
is there a second?
John Libbert, second.
Okay, Brian, we can take the roll.
Dave Weiss,
Aye.
Rick Miller, John Libbert,
Aye.
Ryan Fitzum. Motion passes.
Okay, next item, Ryan?
Award of janitorial services contract, Paula Masti.
Again, commissioners, this is just an informational item only. It's just to say that we're going to be moving forward with a contract, a 5-year contract for cleaning services with ABM. We've had, in the past several years, we've had significant difficulty filling those roles in the cleaning capacities. And so we've just determined that it might be a better fit to outsource that. When we went out for the RFPs, we actually realized that we're going to recognize about a $30,000 savings per year by outsourcing it. So again, that has to do with A, the prices that came in, and B, what we've been finding is that if you extend the contract, we used to do 1- and 2-year contracts, we're extending that to 5 years, and then we get better pricing. So again, looking at about a $30,000 a year savings. So just kind of an informational item for you that we're going to be moving forward with that contract.
Any questions? Okay, Brian, next item?
We have 2020 workers' compensation renewal, and that will be given by Sunny Hess.
Good afternoon, commissioners. This is informational only as well. We are due for renewal on our work comp policy on May 15th. Working with Mahold, we received a renewal quote from State Fund Mutual Insurance, which is our current provider, of an increase of just over $51,000 for a total premium of about $240,000 for May 2020 through the end of April 2021. The bulk of the increase is due to an increase in experience, or in our experience mod. Basically, we had higher claims in the last 3 years, and we had some low claim years that actually dropped off. Any questions?
Questions, anybody? Need a motion?
No, this was just informational purpose.
Information? Okay. Next item then?
This completes our general business agenda.
That's it?
That's it.
All right. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Miller moves. Second. Miller.
All right, give the roll call, Ryan.
Dave Weiss,
Aye.
Rick Miller,
Aye.
Ryan Fitzum,
Aye.
John Libbert.
Aye.
Motion passes. Meeting
We are
adjourned.
adjourned.
All right.
Stay well, everybody.
Yeah, you too.